Hello, and welcome back to my kitchen. I did warn you there would be possibly another one coming up quite quickly. I hadn't quite realised this quick, though. And this one is thanks to Tina Jane 7470, who actually made a comment on the last one where I was in the kitchen and asked if I could show you how to make a balm. So, not quite sure how this is going to do because, as I said in that one, this is something I do for me. I am not qualified in any way, shape, or form. I have gone on several day adventures, I will call them, walks and different things where the herbalist has then shown us how to make this sort of thing for ourselves. That's where I've picked my information up from. So I hope this is going to make sense. I hope it's going to work for a start, because sometimes you do these things and you've done them for so often, and then all of a sudden you get one that just goes, no, I'm not going to work. And you just have to live with that, because that's just the way things are sometimes when you're making bits and pieces. So, balms, what are they? Basically, really simple, usually just made up of oil and wax of some kind. So I'm using beeswax. I like to use beeswax because I find it very good on my skin, and I'm not vegan. If you're vegan, there are other waxes. I did try, I want to say calendula oil wax. It's a long time ago. It was something that I experimented with, just so that I could say that I'd experimented with it. It definitely began with a CAR. Cannot remember the rest of it. Should have looked that up before I started. Memo to self. Next time, look stuff up. Rather than just thinking, oh, I'm about to, so let's just, oh yeah, somebody made a comment, right, let's just, yeah, because I was out here and I was fiddling about. I'm actually tidying. Decided it was about time I actually tidied through my said cupboard, which actually I've shut today, but it's there, over there. Because I've got the stuff out that I was going to use, and it's looking definitely tidier than it was the other day. Fortunately, it was at a distance, so you wouldn't have seen that. But yeah, that's basically what a balm is, and therefore you can use whatever oil you want, and then you've got the wax part of it, and the ratio is 1 part wax to 3, 4, or 5 parts of oil, depending on how liquidy you want your balm to be. I prefer mine firm to middling, so I usually do a 3 to 4, so 1 to 3 to 4 ratio, and that's not quite what I've decided to do today. I've decided that today I'm actually going to make a 5 ratio, which is always... Now, the tips that I've found for myself over the years: 1, decide what size pot you're going to use first, because then you only make as much as you actually need. Because the thing, for me, I'm only talking for me, I have got this habit of thinking, oh, I'll make this, so I'll throw in all sorts of bits and pieces. Sometimes I'll measure, which is what I'm doing today, and sometimes I'll just do it by eye. But that sometimes means that you're throwing in more, and you end up with a huge great pot, and you never finish it, because obviously these things are natural. They haven't got preservatives in them. They last up to a couple of years, but if you've made a huge great pot of something, I invariably end up having to throw the last bit away, which I don't like doing. So over the years, what I have found is that it's good for me to decide what size pot I'm going to use. So as you can see, this is one of those ones that you get jam in when you go for a cream tea. Do love a cream tea. And I have cleaned it thoroughly. It has been sterilised. I've actually used a sterilising tablet, so, and then just air dried it. So it's nice and clean. So yeah, that's my first tip. Choose the size that you want of pot. What oil are you going to use? Well, that's totally up to you and what you've got. I've got a little selection sitting here. which I might just go over to the other screen. So bear with for 1 second. Yep, we're going to go over to that one. So you can see I've started getting myself set up. So you can use an infused oil. So this is one that's got dried rose petals. If you want to see me doing infused oils, I did do a thing like this. I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. So it'll be, if you scroll down on the Kitchen Witch website, not website, YouTube channel, you should find one where I actually make oil, infused oil. But this hasn't been infusing long enough for me to actually use. There are 2 methods of infusing. There's this method, which is the cold method, which you can either put this in a nice sunny windowsill for a couple of weeks. If you can time it with a moon phase, it's always good as well. But yeah, nice sunny windowsill, a couple of weeks, or in a dark cupboard. Warm, preferably, dark cupboard. In which case it can take a couple of 3 months to actually get to. But you can see that's what it looks like when it's doing its thing. Do use dried herbs because the water otherwise makes it all go mouldy if you use fresh. But what else? So look around your kitchen. What have you got? Sunflower oil. Yep, use sunflower oil. Good for protection, fertility, health, wisdom, creativity, to give you a lovely sunny disposition. Olive oil. Could use olive oil. Olive oil, healing, peace, fertility again, protection. Virtually all the oils will give you protection. What else did I grab out? Grapeseed oil. All of these 3 that I'm showing you, I got from the supermarket. This isn't, it is great. Cover up the name of the company. But yeah, it's literally from the supermarket. Grapeseed oil. Again, protection, fertility, abundance, prosperity. Also good for communication and showing up, self-esteem, that sort of thing. Think of it, grape seeds. What are grapes used for? Wines and that sort of thing. So very much communication and being open and approachable, that sort of thing. Now, the other things that I've got, because as I say, this is something that I do for myself. So I have, show you the wrong one, argan oil. Sorry, I went over to the laptop. So this is argan oil. So argan oil, good for protection, nourishment, and for healing. I also have carrot seed oil, and carrot seed oil is, again, protection, healing, and rejuvenation. So that's a nice one. And then you've got a rose hip. And I think I mentioned this in my last one. So the rose hip is love, beauty, good luck, prosperity. But yeah, I don't make, obviously these carrot seed oil. I think you could. I think these 2, the carrot seed and the rose hip, you possibly could if you had the time and the machinery and whatever else. I did try once, as I said last time, you making rose hip. Didn't get all the hairs out. No, hairs very. Let's face it, as kids we used to empty them out and put them down each other's backs as itching powder, didn't we? Didn't we all do that? Or was that just me? Possibly could just be me. Anyway, then we come on to beeswax, which I've already measured out because I'd started and then thought, oh yeah, somebody said they wanted to see this. So I use beeswax pellets simply because I find it easier and quicker. I tend to use the white ones, which I know have been worked on, but I get the organic, the ones that have been the least worked on, because obviously beeswax is normally a yellow colour. But I like the white, so that if I've used an infused oil, the actual colour of the oil shows more. So, Why do you choose your jar, container, whatever you're going to use first? Because I'm in the UK, we use metric. So grams to mils, 1 gram is 1 mil. So you don't actually have to measure out. You can weigh everything out, which is so much easier than trying to measure liquids and things. You just weigh it out. So when you've got your pot, you literally pop it on your scales, turn the scales on so it zeros, and then fill said pot with some water. So I know that that pot takes 25 mils of water. Therefore, if I'm making, so I take a little bit off because obviously you don't want it right up to the top. And wax and beeswax can be a little bit different from water. So 25 mils, take that down to 20. So fives, so you've got 1 of something to 5 of something. So you've got 1 of beeswax to 5 of something. Yeah? So it's 4 mils, so 5 into 20. This is why I'm saying this is how I do it. It's probably not the right way. Somebody will come on underneath and say, you've done that all wrong. I know they will, and that's absolutely fine. This is just the way I do it. So I have put 4 grams of beeswax in there. What I did was I have now, for years, I used, I'm going to show you this. This actually was my mum's, so it is very battered. So be kind. I used this glass dish. You can see how old it is. It was my mum's. It's one of the last kitchen gadgets, if you like, that I have that has survived all these years. So yeah, for years I used my mum's glass bowl for doing this, and then because I used to have to be really careful when I was emptying it out, tipping it in, because obviously it hasn't got a spout. So I eventually, about 3-4 years ago, decided to treat myself to one of these. So I have one of these little gadgets that I got from Amazon. I know lots of people are against Amazon at the moment, but you know, if that's what you use, that's what you use. So yeah, at the moment there is 4 grams in there. So I've now got about 16-ish grams left to play with. And because this is for me, and I'm doing this for me, so I am actually using my special oils. I'm using my argan, my carrot, and my rosehip, because this is me. More towards the spring and summer, I tend to start off with the grapeseed and then maybe add in less of these. But because it's this time of year and it's for me, and I can do what I like because it's for me. So this argan oil does come with one of these dropper things, which in theory is quite handy if you only want 1 or 2 drops. However, that's all it gives you is 1 or 2 drops. If you actually want a amount, you have to tip it. So I'm actually going to so that's ended up being about 5 of that. That's good. Rosehip is going to go, oops, next. Little toppy thing fell out. Oh, that's the thing. If you wait too long and you chat too long, so I'm going to say there was 1 gram of that already in. Yep. Okay. So that's been about 7 of that. And then I shall put in the carrot seed oil. As you can see, carrot seed is a really interesting colour. There you go, taking that. It's also got a really interesting smell. Not that you can smell that, but yeah, it's got a really interesting smell. Excuse me while I just put my lids back on my oils so that I don't knock them and send them flying. Right, so this is where you get your saucepan. I've already put some water in there, and you get your container, pop that there. I'm going to try and take you with me. This could be fun. I'll take you with me. Sort of. There you go. Can you see that? Don't think you can, so bear with 1 second while I just, whoops, bring you a little bit closer so that you can see what I'm up to. That was my hand. I apologise. Looking you off like that. Put that on. I like to use little wooden sticks. Sometimes I break them in half to make them last longer, but they're wooden, they're eco-friendly, they go in the compost. I prefer using those as a one-off rather than metal. Have used wooden spoons in the past, but then if there are other people in the kitchen, they can sometimes use your spoons for other things. Rude, but you know, that's life when you live with people. I'm just going to turn that down. And basically, you wait for the beeswax to melt. Now, the good thing about beeswax, just to let you know, this does smell rather nice, even though it hasn't got anything of aroma as such in it. It's the combination of the rosehip and the carrot seed. Does smell really, yummy. Really rich and nurturing and nourishing. So yeah, so this is going to take a little bit of time. So I'm just going to pop that there. Going to come back over here. I'll leave that sitting there for a minute, but I will see if I can possibly come back here. Hello, just while that's doing its thing. So like I said, that actually hasn't got anything else in it of aroma other than the oils themselves and the beeswax, which has got a slight honeyish scent to it. If you've used an infused oil, then you've already got the energy signatures from what you've used. I like rose, obviously. Lavender I find quite strong on my skin. So I don't tend to use lavender infused oil. I do use calendula infused oil, but my calendulas are still growing and being cut and dried at the moment, so I haven't actually got enough of them to make any oil at the moment. That'll be the next one. So rose, why rose? Because of its properties. So again, it's beauty, it's love, happiness, protection, some dream work, some astral travel in there as well. But it's that happiness and that joy that we all do it. You as soon as you see one of those beautiful, big, lovely roses, you stick your nose right in it because the scent is just gorgeous. I also like using frankincense. Again, because of its energy levels, its rejuvenation, its healing qualities, spirituality as well, enhances psychic powers. So yeah, very rejuvenating basically for skin, so it's always good. Neroli is such a beautiful, beautiful scent. And from that I get positivity. It's a very uplifting scent. Healing again, balance to a certain extent. So if you're feeling a little bit, it can actually help you balance out. And it's very adaptable. And petitgrain, so neroli and petitgrain both come from different parts of orange. Can't remember which one is which, but they both come from orange, whether it's the bark, peel, the flower. I think neroli is the flower. Orange flower, I think. You can tell that I don't do this for a living, can't you? But anyway, so petitgrain is the other one from that family, as well as sweet orange, which is very uplifting and very invigorating. But for skincare, petitgrain is again purity and healing, harmony, balance, peace, happiness, all those lovely things. So yes, how does this do it? It's now going to take forever. I was about to say that beeswax actually melts quite easily. It has got quite a low melting point. Thing is, once it starts, it'll just melt, which is very good, except when I'm talking to you and thinking this is now going to take forever. Yeah, what else? What other oils have I got I could talk to you about? I think I mentioned jojoba the other day. Oh, good old castor oil. It's good, isn't it? So yeah, castor oil. Not to be ingested in too great quantities, because otherwise it acts as a laxative, and a very painful laxative as well. Used to be used a lot for inducing labour for pregnant ladies back in the day. But yeah, so not to be ingested in huge, great quantities. So castor oil, again, it's very protective, it's healing, and it's very cleansing, obviously, because of what it does. And good old jojoba. And again, I think I mentioned jojoba the other day. It's a couple of days ago now, so so with jojoba, you've got the rejuvenation, you've got beauty, you've got self-esteem, and you've got vitality, all thrown in with those ones. And oh yeah, here we go. So yes, so literally off and done. That's it. So I shall bring this back, and I shall swap you over to the other camera again, and turn you down so that you can actually see. Literally, look at that. Once the beeswax, as I say, once it starts to melt, that's it. It'll just go. So once you see it start, turn off the heat. Now you leave it to cool a bit. How long depends on you, and just coming back so you can see me. Depends on you and whether you want to add any essential oils, basically. Because this will be quite warm still, because obviously it's been sitting on warm water. So it's not too bad, because as I say, that's the joy of beeswax. It does melt at quite a lowish temperature. But that's still a little bit too warm to add essential oils to, because they'll actually start to evaporate and then you'll lose any benefits from them, or they'll be diminished. Probably won't lose them altogether, but they'll be diminished because they'll already be evaporating. So I am going to be adding in probably a little bit of neroli and frankincense, I think, possibly today. That's what I'm feeling like, seeing as I've just mentioned them and been talking to you about them. So I'm going to leave that to sit now for possibly about 5 minutes or so. I'll just keep touching the container until I feel that it's cool enough for me to add the essential oils to, give it a nice good stir, and then I should be pouring it into my sterilised pot. That's a balm. And that has taken, wow, look at that, 24 minutes. Mind you, some of that was waiting for that to... I really hope this has been useful. Thank you so much to Tina James 7470 for saying, could I do this? There will be another one, not in the kitchen though, because I think when I spoke last time, I actually said there was things that are buzzing around in my brain. I'm actually going to take you along on an experiment, a divinations experiment. But that's at another time. It's still brewing, shall we say. But yes, that will be the next one of these, I think. Unless something else comes up in the meantime. Somebody else comes on with another comment. Yeah, please do comment. Tell me whether this has been useful, whether you've enjoyed it. If you've got another idea that you want to throw at me, throw it at me. If I can't do it, I won't. But, and I will say that. I won't just leave you hanging there wondering whether I'm going to do it. But yeah, please give me more ideas. Let me know in the comments whether you've enjoyed it or not. But yeah, so unless somebody gives me another idea to play around with in the kitchen, or anywhere else for that matter, the next thing could be a little exploration, divination exploration, or experiment. Exploration and experiment. There we go. Right.